Hi, I'm Suzanne Castle, and this is the Thought Leader Thursday. I'm here today introducing you to another incredible leader, thinker, doer, and all-around amazing human who's going to help each of us think about our world a little bit differently than anyone else. From artists to teachers, from actors to moms, from the big names to the you didn't know about them till now names, my hope is that you will connect with a leader who helps you light up in your corner of this galaxy. This is the Thought Leader Thursday show. Hello, welcome back to the Thought Leader Thursday. I'm Suzanne. I'm glad that you're here spending about 20 minutes meeting this amazing, fabulous, will knock your socks off thought leader that we have all the way from the West Coast. Before you meet her though, okay, Andrew, a lot of what we're going to talk about today is balance and overachievement and how that's kind of difficult to be in alignment with yourself when you are not balanced because you spend so much time being an overachiever. So Andrew, tell me a time in your life maybe when you felt like you were an overachiever.
I feel like an overachiever often in one specific area. It is when I am trying to please others, is when I am just going more probably above and beyond than I need to or should health-wise. But yeah, I don't know if that's a good answer or not, but that's it.
I think it's an amazing answer, and it's the perfect segue into our seriously tremendous guest. So first and foremost, I can't believe you're here. And I want to thank you, Michelle, for making time. So I want to tell people some fun facts, and then I'm going to read your official bio, if you don't mind. So this powerhouse attorney has a client base, not just of people who need her services in that way, but people who need her services for alignment. And so she has clients from death row inmates to film producers and graduate school deans and lawyers and judges and professional women. She is Southern by trade, so hallelujah, but she's also the epitome of what we know of as Portlandia. So she's a public defender. She's also a yoga instructor. So imagine that kind of world. I think Portland fits her very well. Her grandparents were entrepreneurs, and I think that helped birth that entrepreneurial spirit inside of her and operated the last live pigeon trap shooting business in the United States. That's right, correct? Yep. Yes, okay. As a camp counselor at one point in her life, she taught horseback riding and archery and riflery and sailing and canoeing and kayaking, and of course, arts and crafts. Amazing. I hope you're getting a picture of this woman. She was a volunteer dog trainer at the Oregon Humane Society for 10 years. You all know that the dog, everything is really important for me as a mom of lots of rescue pups and work with rescue organizations. So let me tell you about the officialness of this woman who is a powerhouse, who is here with us today on the Thought Leader Thursday, Michelle Ryan. Michelle Ryan, she's that unique blend of yin and yang. She's warm, she's talkative, but she's also an introvert, and she's a speaker, she's a trainer, mentor, yoga facilitator, attorney, and she has been in this space of being overwhelmed, so she knows what it's like. She went from being an overwhelmed solo practitioner, working nights and weekends, all the while working at generating a full-time income. She was known as Oregon's go-to lawyer for all the things. And what she's transitioned to is not leaving that behind, but adding on top of it a way to think about alignment and balance with her company, Balance Professionals. And what she does, she supports professionals through talks, through retreats, through a different understanding of how to be more present with yourself and your loved ones to help you achieve all of your goals. So what's her mission? Well, Balance Professionals' mission is to support momentum and improve performance for successful professionals so that they are that very present self with their loved ones. They can take precious care of themselves and enjoy their work and lives again. I told you you were going to love meeting Michelle. Michelle, welcome to the Thought Leader Thursday.
Thank you, Suzanne. Happy to be here.
I was so delighted when you said yes and when you made time, because you are an extremely busy woman. And I also think that you kind of have suffered at times from the overachievement syndrome. And yet when we met through a mutual person, what I noticed immediately is your centeredness. You call in all this energy, but you're able to it together. And so you show up as this dynamo, but not with frenetic energy, but very balanced energy. And I think that it maybe is a clue about why you named your business the Balanced Professional. So tell me about all these different worlds and how they are syncing together.
Exactly. When I started working actually as a public defender back in 1999, so long ago, I also started practicing yoga. And that is how I have stayed in the law and as a public defender for 20 plus years now. And the other reason I named my business this, and it's all about balance, is that I think they haven't had a conference in a while, but there used to be a conference called Life in the Balance, because I do death penalty work in part. And even though my clients' liberty is not at interest when we talk about well-being and overachieving,
Right.
our personal well-being and ability to serve our clients is. So I know some people have critiqued my name. They're like, oh, balance is a myth. And I'm like, no, we're always finding a balance. I mean, think about yoga. In yoga, almost every pose except Shavasana is a balance. Balancing in downward facing dog, balancing in tree pose. We're coming in and out. We're balancing our breath. And the same is true for life. So we need flexibility and strength, the yin and the yang, movement, nourishment, all of the things. And that's why I created Balanced Professionals. I noticed I was one of the few attorneys and professionals who had figured some of this out early on, maybe because I'd watched my grandparents as entrepreneurs and saw what I didn't want to do with my own health and well-being, didn't want to be a workaholic. So that's why it's all about balancing, finding your balance. It changes all the time. And that's what I do when I work one-on-one with my clients.
It's really amazing work. And I know that part of your call for not only professional women, but just for people in general that have what might seem like a frantic schedule, not a lot of white space on their calendar, they're doing all of the things, is the really important aspect of taking time for yourself. But a lot of us don't do that. Either we sit on the sofa and we're going to take 5 minutes, and then we think about, oh, I've got laundry to do, or I need to go return that email, or I forgot to do this, that, or the other. I have to go make a grocery list. And there's always that repetitive kind of journey inside of us that's telling us, do this, do that, do this, do that it's hard to just take a moment for ourselves. And so a lot of the work that you're currently doing is to offer alternatives to recapture that restoration for your own self. I know that you're working on retreats, for example. I think there's something magical about getting away from your life to understand what you do need to do and to practice it in a setting that's outside of your normal so that you can bring it back to your normal. So could you tell us a little bit more about why this concept is so important and the types of retreats that you're working on?
Yes. So one of the reasons all of this actually came about is that I had a forced retreat, we can call it. I tripped on loose carpeting at the office when I was working as a public defender and slammed my head into a metal door frame and had a major concussion. Post-concussion syndrome for 6 weeks, couldn't compare prices at the grocery store, let alone practice law. And while my brain didn't work super well, it was recovering. And when I came back from that time, I realized that I had been giving all of my energy to work and none to myself, none to my family, and I wanted to change. And so I just created changes for my life and my work. And one of the things I made sure to do is take vacations, not just accumulate vacation days like I've been really great at doing, but actually taking those vacations. And I started doing retreats with the Oregon Women Lawyers Group. I was actually the yoga teacher, usually the mindfulness instructor, talking about self-compassion, all of the things. And it was such a great time to be relaxed, to connect with other professional women, and just turn off all of the overwhelm, turn the phones off, not have to be accountable to anyone but myself.
Right.
And that's what I've been doing recently, is creating my own, trying to find it in the pandemic times, but creating my own retreats. I have some ideas about some domestic places, of course, Pacific Northwest, and my family is actually in Charleston. So Charleston is another location I've been thinking about. Plus there's Portugal, Costa Rica, Jordan, where a friend of mine just went on a retreat that I'm very envious of. And I'm curious, where do you want to go, Suzanne? What retreat location would make you really happy and like you?
Well, it's funny that you asked this because I was working on a Grecian retreat when the pandemic hit, actually for a group of clients. And I've always thought about somewhere in the Mediterranean might be a lot of fun, even something like Morocco, because we hear a lot about Bali and, I know lots of people that have done Costa Rica things, but I like to think of something that has some cultural aspects that I otherwise wouldn't be exposed to, right? But I want to be really honest with you. My favorite kind of retreat is always near a vineyard. So if there's something about the smell of growing grapes and the soil that for me is very restoring. Of course, drinking wine is really important to me too, but because that's the only time I really can settle in. But the smell there really activates something in me that helps my breathing slow down, which is why I think the work that you're doing to connect people to an outside location for them to name, what is this that helps me balance? What is this that I need to carry back to my world in some way, shape, or form, really allows people to expand their horizons in taking care of themselves. So I love that. So please plan a retreat in a vineyard, and I promise I will sign up and be there and bring lovely ladies alongside with me.
That's one of the reasons why the Pacific Northwest is actually top on my list, is that we have so many amazing vineyards. Yes. And they love to host people at the events. Plus, it's easy for me.
Right. That sounds fun. So, okay, you're an accomplished attorney. You have all kinds of different clients that need you in various capacities. You also are holding a lot of details in your mind every single day. You have loads of deadlines for court appearances, and you have one-to-one clients, and you're booking speaking gigs, and you're settling into retreats. I mean, just talking about it all, at least to me, seems a little bit exhausting. But somehow, Michelle, you are able to really kind of be present, be mindful about how you're creating space for yourself and your clients. And so I really think that you are thinking about this world of balance differently for someone like me who is a certified overachiever for sure. So talk to me a little bit about why you think that the way that you're questioning what we've always done isn't working anymore.
Well, by nature, I'm a questioner. I don't know if you're familiar with Gretchen Rubin, that's who it is. The Four Tendencies book she wrote, holders, obligers, rebels, the people who question everything. I'm the questioner, where I'm always, and I always have, asked why. Like, why do we need to do it that way? Why? Because as long as something makes sense to me and I'm on board with my values and my priorities, then I will make sure to create time for it and fulfill anyone else's expectations. But if it's arbitrary and I don't agree with it, like I personally don't agree with the concept that as an attorney, I have to work nights and weekends.
Right.
Yes, at times that is what happens, but I don't agree with a lot of the rules that I grew up with as how to be successful. And so I think it's about creating our own balance, our own priority list. And that's why I have on my website, like, you really can have it all as long as you decide what all you want. Because when we're making decisions based on what everyone else wants of us, then we aren't going to be very happy and we're going to be overwhelmed. In fact, I just talked to a client this morning about that, about how we need to streamline what you're saying yes to and what you're saying no to. And I think the answers are all within us. It's like, what are my priorities? What works? How am I going to find time to do what matters? And how am I going to find time for rest? Personally, I always manage nowadays to find time for rest, even if it's a nap on my couch for 10 minutes or lying down on a yoga mat for a few minutes in Shavasana, just turn things off. Because while retreats are amazing, the other thing that's really amazing is incorporating rest regularly throughout our day. So we're not go, like a hamster in a wheel, and then we just fall over because we're exhausted.
That's great. A lot of the work that I do is around neurodynamic theory and how the brain actually creates new neural pathways when we are creative, when we're breathing. And that's the time to be developing those practices, not in the middle of craziness or fear or uncertainty, because everything shuts down. You clench, your breathing changes, your body changes, your brain shuts down because you're not getting as much oxygen and blood flow there. And so the time to be practicing these things is when you're not in those spaces, so that you have tools and tips and tricks to employ in those moments. So if I could ask you for one tip, one trick, one something for an overachieving professional right now that's checking out this show, besides laying on your yoga mat or taking a nap, because I know, like, for someone like me, I sleep about 4 hours a day. So when people say take a nap, I'm like, are you kidding me? I can barely get 4 hours of sleep, and I'm just not a sleeper. So what is one activation that we could do to just create a little more balance and centeredness in our manic life?
The thing I recommend everyone do is to play around with the Pomodoro technique. You know, the tomato timer,
Right.
where you turn on for 25 minutes and turn off for 5 minutes. Because when we have a set amount of time, we're really amazing at getting things done quickly, or
Right.
much more quickly than we would if we had an hour. And when you have that cutoff time, you get a reward. Your reward can just go get a cup of tea or do some of those other activities or stand up and move around, because I teach movement, among other things. And I've noticed with my clients, that is the one thing that once they start doing it, either the 25 minutes on, 5 minutes off, or like I was telling a client today, you have a couple of emails you need to get through. Set a timer for 10 minutes, and that's all the time you're giving it. And then you'll get it done, and it's off your mental list, and you're going to be a lot happier.
Right.
It's simple. It does involve your phone. Keeping the phone on do not disturb is the other aspect of that, so that you don't feel that tendency to want to check your phone at all times,
Right.
like most of us do if we have it nearby and on. Make sense?
Yeah. It's really a great tip. It's an easy something to try. I'm a big believer in timers. Maybe that's because I was an entertainer in my first world, so you only had so much time to get the show done or to get a dance piece done or whatever, to get your rehearsals in. And so I love the idea of hacking that, and use your phone. Everyone has a timer on your phone. If that's available to you and that's what you need, then use that. Get a timer, get a something. Most computers have timers as well. And so it's a really easy way for most people that doesn't require them anything extra. Okay, so for every show, the way that we close things out is I ask all of the guests, what would be your definition of what it means to sparkle?
As you know, sparkle is not a word that's in my normal vocabulary, so I had to think about this one. To me, it's all about being present, vitality, wellness, sparkly eyes, meaning you're actually thinking and interacting with the person that you're with, and having that enthusiasm and excitement. It doesn't have to be jumping up and down enthusiasm, but having that presence, like you described. Like I'm a little bit on the low key side, but I get happy and excited about things. And when I'm like that, I sparkle. It's not for me all rainbows and unicorns, though my dog definitely has a toy that has both of those things, but it's that presence.
Right. I love that internal light. I think that when people have figured out a way to let that shine, that is truly the sparkle factor. Michelle, I just don't have enough thank yous. I don't have enough words of gratitude for the way that you show up for me, for your clients, for this world, for so many people, and for the animals in our life. I want to thank you for being an amazing thought leader and being a guest on my show today. Everyone, before you tune off, I am excited to say that our very next show will feature holistic practitioner, former Susan G. Komen executive and director at Livestrong Foundation, Kendall Bergman of the Discovery Well. I'm Suzanne Castle, and this is the Thought Leader Thursday.